Tom, if you'll indulge us for a moment. All of us at ABC News, when we travel around the country, Bob, you know it, we get the same question. People ask, how's Bob Woodruff? You look great. How are you doing?
Well, you know, it's let's just say it's every year it gets better, Terry. As you know, this was 2 years ago. Probably wouldn't be on your program here right now, but physically completely fine. My vocabulary's come back. I still got a little slight bit of aphasia, some memory here and there, and certainly the letters come twisting around a little bit, but I don't know. It's a miracle, my friend. Let's put it that way.
It is, and we're very, very grateful for it. So, Tom, let me ask you, on the policy matter, what's the priority right now? What's needed to take care of returning veterans better?
Right. With so many veterans coming back with some sort of mental health or combat stress-related injury, the most important thing we can do is have mandatory mental health screening for everybody coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. Right now, there is such a stigma with mental health injuries and mental health care, both within the military and within American society. If we have mandatory mental health counseling face-to-face for everybody when they come home, and through that readjustment process, it'll reduce the stigma and catch a lot of these injuries early when they're highly, highly treatable.
So early testing. And gentlemen, hang on for just a second. And I want to get our audience involved here. We got a lot of tweets coming. We got a little problem with the board here. We aren't getting your pictures in. But here is somebody, Pure Malinus, who asks, does anybody know what we're fighting for anymore? That's not the question of the day, but I wonder if that does impact the level of commitment. And actually, Tom, let me ask you that. Do you think that the unpopularity of the Iraq War, certainly, and the increasing questions around the Afghanistan campaign has affected the funding, the resources, the commitment?
I think that American servicemen and women are amazing. They have committed to a life of service, and really, the point behind the war and the issues surrounding the political aspects really aren't important. Choosing a life of public service is what is important, and these men and women have chosen to do this type, the most elite form of public service, and they will accomplish their mission, and they do accomplish the mission. These are men and women who are asked to do extraordinary things with very little resources, and the fact that they have chosen this life of service really means that we have to honor all the responsibilities that we have to them coming home. Even if the war is ended tomorrow, there's still going to be 1.8 million servicemen and women who need employment assistance, who need educational benefits, who need health care, who need help readjusting from being warrior to citizen.
Terry, also we should say, Tom and I have been working on this for so long, is that this is not a political issue whatsoever. It is true that there are those on both sides and some in the middle about what the wars were worth it or not. But certainly when it comes to trying to help those that have served the country and come back, I think all sides do that, the very right and the very left and the ones in the middle. The real big change now in terms of raising money for this and people paying attention to it is because the big issue now is the economy, which is both ones that people pay a lot more attention to, and also it's harder for them to come up with money. So that's the one that's really had the impact, not really the political issue about the war.
So it's the resources, just essentially, and the recession. And I want to go to one of these tweets here that struck me. Grandma Newt has written us, Nightline, when they come home, some fall through the cracks. The help isn't there for the long range. We should be ashamed of yourselves. And Bob, that reminded me of a story you did about a guy who had a similar traumatic brain injury to yours, although I understand it's such a complicated injury that no two are alike. But he went home to Texas, I believe, and the kind of aftercare, therapy, all that just wasn't available to him. Do you remember that story, and how big an issue is that?
Well, this is like a lot, and certainly in the beginning, there was no relationship between the DOD and the VA. So you come back, and up to 90 days you would be tested within the DOD, paid attention to, and then your whole case would really pass over to the VA. And sometimes, and certainly in that situation, was that they did not even talk to each other. One of them has access through computers, and the other one just by paper. That you come from the doctors within there, the nurses from there, and they don't have much of a record of what you went through when you shift from DOD to the VA. It's always been a big problem. And certainly about paying attention to them, that is true as well. As we said before, there's only about 1.65 million that have served in this war compared to 12 million in Vietnam. How many people actually know them? And when they do come back, not many meet them. And that's not only private people in their neighborhoods, but also the government generally. And certainly getting them enough treatment is because they're not getting enough attention. I met one in northern upstate New York. He's a National Guard. He came back blinded, but only in 15/16 of his sight, so he was not completely covered. And that, he also, to get his treatment, he had to go 2.5 hours away from where he's living to get to the closest VA. All of that's now changing quite a bit, but they've got to get to their local hospitals, whether they're VA or they're private. That's what they need, to be near their families when they're trying to recover from the war.
Because as we saw in your story that you dramatized, family is obviously an essential part of therapy. And Tom, I want to ask you something of a personal question. Your background in the military and why you're doing this. Why now? Why are you taking on this cause?
Well, I served in the military in various capacities for about 10 years. When I left the military, I found it very difficult to find a job. You know, the unemployment rate for newly returned veterans is about 2 points higher on average than the general population. So imagine how bad it is for the general population. It's that much worse for veterans. I was looking for something to serve other service members. I was looking for a mission. I was looking to continue helping soldiers, which is what I loved to do when I was an officer in the Army. I found the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. They were kind enough to give me a job in D.C., and now I get to fight for those who continue to fight for me, and it's really a dream job.